Okay, we'll declare the meeting open and ask to stand for the affirmation. We recognise the traditional owners of the land were inspired by the early pioneers and by those who gave their lives for our country. We now ask on God's blessings on our deliberations and in our commitment to build a better lifestyle and environment. Be seated. This council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to Council's YouTube channel. The recording will also be made available on Council's website. Whilst all care is taken to ensure that the privacy is maintained, please be aware that your presence may be recorded. No apologies. Confirmation of the minutes, which was held on both the 1st of May and the 22nd of May. Move. Councillor Heslop. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Any matters arising out of the minutes? None. No presentations of awards. No petitions or joint letters. Any disclosure of conflict of interest at this council meeting? None declared. Informal meetings of councillors. Quite a few. Got a mover and seconder for those? Councillor Starr.
Mayor, I'll move that.
Seconder?
Happy to second.
All in favour? Those against? That's carried. Item 9.3.1, Bunbury Street, Glenorchy speed limit petition.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that Council A supports the community's request for the reduction of the speed limit on Bunbury Street, Glenorchy from 60 km an hour to 50 km an hour. B, Council supports the installation of speed limit signs on Rappley Street and Forest Street at the current speed limit. And C, progresses an application for speed limit reduction to the Department of Transport and Planning.
Get a seconder for that motion?
Happy to second, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Starcevic.
2 months ago, Council received a petition from the residents at Glenorchy regarding the speed limit through Glenorchy. I believe it was nominally at 80 km an hour, and there are a number of children and elderly that use the thoroughfare through that area, and it was believed that it would be a safer outcome to have the speed limit reduced, 60 km an hour, reduced down to 50 km an hour. And after due deliberation, I think it's reasonable to accept the safety issue for that community. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Dempsey.
Yeah, I think it's great that we can have the community rally together and come to us on issues that they feel to be appropriate, and this is one of those. And having it, council staff as well look through it, it's ticks all the boxes there, and I think it just makes sense. So happy to support that motion today.
Any other councillors wish to speak on the motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I just want to make a point in regard to the recommendation. Of course, I'll be supporting the recommendation, but it's not a decision that we make in regard to the speed limits.
That's correct. Any other councillors? Councillor Starcevic, you wish to sum up?
The point by Councillor Emerson is duly noted and strongly in the hands of Department of Transport and Planning, of course, but we will certainly make representations as we must for these sort of things. As you'll all appreciate, as someone that concerns themselves about speed limits through various highways and byways of this state, I'm particularly aware of speeds through built-up areas, and 50 km an hour zone in this space would be a safer outcome. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. 9.4.1, Audit and Risk Committee Biennial Activity Report. Mover?
I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Second that, Mr Mayor.
With a slight amendment.
The The officer's recommendation is that Council receives and notes the Audit and Risk Committee biannual report for the 6 months to December 2022. Also notes that the wrong date is at the bottom of the report. It should be March 2023.
Wish to speak any further?
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, if I may. Yeah. The recommendation doesn't include, unless there's going to be an amendment to the incorrect date, which probably I don't think it becomes an amendment. I think it becomes a part of the discussion.
The wrong year was put on the bottom of the letter. It's up to Mr Knights to change that. So if you have a recommendation to say you received the report with the acceptance of Mr Knight changing the year on the bottom of the letter. You happy with words to that effect?
Okay, I'm happy to see the report, receives and notes the Audit Risk Committee biannual report for the 6 months to December 2022 with the intent that that Peter Knights will change the date on the bottom of the biannual report letter.
Happy with that, the seconder?
Mr Mayor, I'm happy with that.
You wish to speak on the letter?
Yeah, look, it says that everything's where it should be, that the Audit and Risk Committee, they have certain legislations and certain things that they have to meet. They've been meeting the required, they've met for the required amount of times, they've had good attendance at their meetings, everything is progressing the way that it should be, and yeah, it was just a straightforward report, so was happy to move that recommendation.
Councillor Haswell?
Yes, the Audit and Risk Committee is a separate independent body, and it's something that we have to do in order to show that we've got good governance, management of risk, financial reporting and maintenance of reliable systems and internal controls. So, yes, I recommend this.
Any other councillors wish to speak? No? Wish to sum up, Councillor Haswell?
Nothing further to add.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. Item 9.4.2, Quarterly Finance Report.
I'll volunteer. The recommendation is that Council notes the financial report for the third quarter ended 31st of March 2023.
Let's get a seconder. Councillor Grady. Councillor Starsvik.
The financial report for the third quarter clearly shows that we're on target, on track to deliver and also to commit funds to the service provision for our community, and I commend the report to Council.
Councillor Grady. Any other councillors wish to speak? Wish to sum up, Councillor Starsvik?
I think we're in safe hands when we look at the financial report. The key authors have got a very steady hand on the ship, even to the point where our software is matching our skill sets, which is fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. That's the last one. No notices of motion or rescission. Reports from councillors. Who'd like to start? Councillor Grady.
Yeah, one of the things I attended the MAV State Council meeting in Melbourne, Town Hall. First one I've been to, so it was excellent, a lot of good information of Councillor Emerson and CEO Brent was there with me as well, so it was a good day. We had Northern Grampians transmission line meetings every fortnight. I think we were actually starting to get some information out of the people involved, so we seem to be doing all right there. We also had the HX through hydrogen discussion. Hydrogen is a very interesting point. I think we have to look at it, but I think it's a long way down the track before it's financially viable. It's only my opinion. And we have a meeting at the Halls Gap for the Halls Gap ratepayers on Wednesday night. If people would be like to come out, we're actually short of a president for that committee at the moment. So if you walk in the door, there's a fair chance you could be nominated. But we'd like to see I'll be out there on Wednesday night. If people can turn up, it'd be great. Thank you.
Councillor Haswell.
Mr Mayor, we still seem to be having problems. I get calls from residents about their problems getting in to see a doctor at the Stawell Medical Centre to do with Grampians Health, and I know we've written to the Health Minister, and I'm not sure what replies we have or haven't received, but I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention again that this is actually an urgent matter. Thank you.
We do have a meeting scheduled for the 15th, I think it's the 15th of June.
Yes, with the Chief of Staff for the Ministry of Health. Yes. And we're inviting the local reps along as well.
So yes, the first one got cancelled, but it is in hand again. Councillor Hislop.
Yeah, no report.
Councillor Emerson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm happy to report that since the 22nd of June, which is not that long ago, I've attended 11 meetings of various community organisations and policy making. One in particular that I'd like to bring to the attention of Council was last week I attended the Police Community Safety meeting. First time I've attended that meeting, but they discussed, there was about 10 community people there, including the local constabulary, and they discussed some of the problems about Nang canisters, which I didn't know very much about, but I think they sniffed them or something like that. Behaviour of people in different regions throughout the Northern Grampians Shire. Suspicious people loitering around cars and hotels and houses and things like that. And in particular, we discussed the fact that both the St Arnaud Police Station and the Stawell Police Station, on occasions, the doors are being shut. I don't think the people that were there were very aware of it, but when we ran through it, and I know this council has had some discussions with the local police command about it, it seems like that some of our personnel that are here at Stawell and St Arnaud go and work at other places, which requires us to then close our police station. So that was pretty clearly brought to their attention, and they said they'll be talking to not only their staff about it, but to command as well. It was a really good meeting, and I understand it's open for the community if anybody would like to go to discuss anything in regard to law enforcement and safety that might be happening throughout our community. Also, the other point that I wanted to make was the decision of the MAV to pursue the overhead power line constructions. Not sure where it'll go, because the day after the State Council, when we moved and seconded the motion by a unanimous vote, the government then made a decision to go ahead with it. So I think we'll be banging our heads up against the wall, but it's something we've got to do because the community want us to represent them in regard to that. It's going to be a heck of a task. I think we're all fairly understandable about the things that our community is worried about, but it's something that will be going on into the future, and I'm sure this council will give our local communities who are affected by this as much help and support as we can give them. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Busy month this month, and we believe, the Grape Escape's one of those ones that have fallen within this month. And that's obviously a significant event for the Northern Grampians Shire. I've also attended the skate park working group meeting, and I just had some notes I was going to read about that in regards to what came out of that meeting. So council staff are investigating security options for the skate park currently. The old material of the skate park was unable to be relocated or used temporarily due to insurance issues. It's not up to code and would be too costly to bring that up, plus it was just severely rusted. So that option to have a temporary skate park and to then relocate that material was unable to occur. And the working group are also planning a launch event around September with plans for some future training opportunities for community members as well, beginner skaters, scooters, anyone. So keep an eye out for that. But as you can see, there's a bit of movement in the area there, and the new skate park will be fitted out over the coming weeks to months. Also attended the annual general meeting of the Central Grampians LEN. The Northern Grampians Shire Women for Council had their meeting as well, which we had several attendees there, some with us in the gallery, thank you for joining, and to discuss some issues and in the town and how we as a community can support those issues. The International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia and Transphobia, which was formerly Ida Hobbit Day, was one that we celebrated and raised the rainbow flag in both Stawell and St Arnaud, of which community members I know had spoken to me about their thanks for the support and inclusivity in the community that we've shown as council. The ALGOR conference, which is the Australian Local Government Women's Association, I attended a conference, a 4-day conference that the Morning Peninsula Shire Council ran, and that was full of key speakers, some keynote speakers, including Julie Bishop, and some fabulous insights and networking opportunities. The Stawell Recreation Advisory Group meeting, the minutes for that are available online, but some of the key issues or things that were discussed were the new lighting that's gone in at North Park around the athletics track soccer oval, and the rec users there are found to be really great at night. Some of the athletics club that uses it of an evening turn the lights on, and there's been really positive feedback on that. In Central Park, the netball courts came up for discussion, as well as the upgrade to the female-friendly change rooms, which will be happening over the coming months as well. So that's going to be a great addition to our town. The CEO and I took a tour to Burrum Biodynamics out in Manu, and toured that wonderful facility there, as well as attending the Manu Hub and the local primary school to discuss issues and opportunities and have a little explore of the area. So that was wonderful. There's a Changemakers dinner run by Women's Health Grampians, which was around focusing on sports clubs being involved in communities of respect and equality and preventing violence against women. Especially, they highlighted how strongly that can occur within club culture as well. And Minyip Matoa Football Netball Club have been the leaders in that space and doing some really great work. So that was great to be involved with that one too. Stawell Neighbourhood House Committee meeting, I attended that one as well, and we've got some great things happening with the neighbourhood house there, and as well just a number of meetings with community members as my role as a councillor, just to get out and about chatting to people and finding out the concerns and then bringing those back to council. So, plus the, in my spare time doing an AICD course, which is, if you've done it or you're aware of, there's, plenty of reading that has to be done every month. So somehow I've managed to try and fit that into everything else that's been going on. So that's my report. Thank you.
Councillor Starswick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Congratulations to both our members for doing the AICD course. It's a walk in the park, isn't it, both? Talk about time commitments. We had a St Arnaud Recreation Advisory Group meeting, which Councillor Heslop, and Councillor Emerson attended by teams. Good meeting. We had the lights turned on for the first time. Thank you, Trenton and team. We had to turn them off pretty quickly because people were getting suntanned. It's that bright out there. The hockey field has an average lux level of 350 lux, which is, by the way, reading material. You can actually take a book out there and read. It was that bright. So, well done to the team. I think I know that there were a lot of comments about how pleasing it was to see. In fact, I had a phone call from John Beggs, who's the secretary of the football club, who was at Swan Hill at the time, and said, "Can you please turn the lights off? They're too bright up here." He received a number of photographs from members that night. I really would like to raise this for the councillors that were involved in making a policy decision or a strategic position, having a multifunction space. Congratulations. From the Synoded point of view, I asked this question at the end of the meeting, and the Synoded members that were there wholeheartedly supported the idea of a multifunction facility. Wholeheartedly, no question. In fact, comments were that it has strengthened their community. They have evening meals on Tuesdays and Thursdays for anyone that wants to turn up if you've got space to get in there, because they serve 150 meals a night now and growing. And the number of kids that are participating in Auskick and other netball activities is growing as a consequence of that facility. So, fantastic effort, councillors of the previous councils for going down that particular pathway. The four members that are sitting here, well done. That was really great, and it was loudly endorsed. We had an interesting drive, the Mayor, CEO, myself and Damien, out to Hazeldene's to visit some chooks, some young chooks actually. They were only there for 7 weeks, but it was the first step in trying to garner some additional business into the Shire. Fundamentally, it was the first meeting, and we met with the CEO of Hazeldene's and also their farm manager, who has a very senior role, even though he's termed a farm manager. That business is doing the best part of $100 million of turnover a year, so it's not a small enterprise. And we were trying to discover how we could entice additional businesses into our Shire. This is but one step in a networking opportunity, and there's more to follow. I would very clearly endorse this process. And Mr. CEO, well done. Good work. The Aboriginal Sorry Day. Look, we had a flag raising ceremony on the Friday, and unfortunately it wasn't well advertised. It needs to be more widely distributed. Even the local owner of the newspaper wasn't aware until the morning of, and we had a few turn up, so that was good. So that was done. Teddington, apart from V&I West, Teddington is another cause, reason celebrity. We finally received the reports from Parks Victoria that were prepared for them by SMEC, Snowy Mountains Engineering Corporation. And really, from a technical viewpoint, there's a few areas where there's discombobulation, if I can put it that way. They've got different classifications in different reports, but from a technical perspective, it's not the grounds upon which to get the minister to change their minds. It's the fact that there was no consultation at all with the community. The decision was made. In fact, the reports were prepared in 2018. Here we are, 2023. We had an opportunity to speak with Parks Victoria through their engagement process in October 2022. So 4 years earlier, the decision was made to decommission the dam. The concept of actually deliberative engagement, which is the government policy, certainly hasn't trickled down to Parks Victoria. So consequently, on those grounds alone, because the decision to decommission is only from one perspective, and that's Parks' perspective, not including the views of the community and other stakeholders. So consequently, if the community was involved in the early stages, there would have been a different outcome. The costs, not our money, it's Parks Victoria's estimates and SMEC's estimates. The cost to rehabilitate versus decommission is very similar, $300,000 difference, which is in Trenton speak contingency. So I think the push, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, we've had terrific support from you and from the council to try and get that on the agenda. it's important now that we visit with the Minister and put the facts forward and make sure that they follow their own protocol that we are obliged to follow across the state. We have the North Central Len AGM meeting tonight. So that's at Charlton, at the Charlton Rex. We might even see some interesting movies at the Charlton Rex Theatre. But that will prove to be an interesting session. There'll be some panel discussions about engaging the youth in the community and also career pathways, which is one of their other areas of interest. And further to the H2X presentation, really quite useful, interesting. I presented earlier today some background on hydrogen generation. H2X is all about using hydrogen as a fuel source for stationary energy or other. It's certainly going to be a way forward. I agree with Councillor Trevor Grady about the forecast. I don't think it's going to be a decade. I think it's going to be shorter than that, but it's certainly a few years away. And certainly the state government is looking at truck movements using hydrogen by 2025. So we're a couple of years away. We'll see whether that comes to fruition. Watch this space. However, hydrogen is the fuel source after transition. Hydrogen is a fuel source that we will really need to look at for our stationary loads. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. I think most of the things that have been mentioned I've attended. A couple of things I will mention though. Last Friday I went over to St Arnaud. The Royal Flying Doctor Service will be introducing a new service there for people to meet their medical appointments. It will cover a range of approximately 40 kilometres, I think, which gets out to Manu and takes in Stuart Mill. Is working in conjunction with the hospital East Women Health Service over there. So that'll be a great addition to the St Arnaud community. I think it's about 6 weeks, 2 months off hitting the ground, but will be a great addition to the St Arnaud and surrounding communities. They take appointments to Bendigo, Ballarat, Stawell and Horsham generally. That's about the limit of their. I'm not sure they get up to a Chuk. Sorry? Ballarat, yeah, I did say Ballarat, yeah. Anyway, that'll be a great addition. And also attended the Dunmunkle School Sports back at Manu, which was really good. There was plenty of kids there. And it was a great day, and it was good to see the Oval and the facilities getting used there at the Manu Hub, as it's called, or better known as the MCG. But it was really good, and had a good chat to the teacher there and the president of the school committee, and gave our CEO some notes we can follow up on. So anyway, that was good. Busy week, busy month, and busy months coming up too. Could I get a mover and seconder for those reports, please?
I'd like to move those reports, Mr Mayor.
Get a second, thanks.
Okay, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. We have no items of urgent business. We do have one public question, a late one. Deborah Jenkins, if you'd like to read out your question, we may have an answer, I'm not sure. Just state your name and where you're from, perhaps, for a start.
Okay, I'm Deborah Jenkins. I come from St Arnaud and I'm a ratepayer over there for quite a few years now. I'm asking these questions to you with reference to the council decision on the 22nd of May to locate the new pre-prep modular building in the Market Square car park. I would like to raise two environmental and heritage consequences which to my knowledge have not been specifically considered. The first question, and they're only brief, I'm sorry. The only car park entrance and exit will be onto Walker Street, which is set to host the majority of the new replacement angle parking car spaces. My first question, will the council ensure that the 2 mature eucalyptus leucoxylon trees at the Walker Street entrance and exit and the eucalyptus leucoxylon in the open space nearby are protected during any redevelopment? The bus stop is to be relocated from Walker Street and sited in Golden Street, where mature elm trees, notable heritage street trees, currently grow. What steps will the council take to protect the elm trees at the proposed bus stop in Golden Street? Yours faithfully, Deborah Jenkins.
Thanks very much for your question. Mr Fiddle, you might have an answer for the questions.
Yes, Mr Mayor, thank you. So in regards to the decision to put in a modular building in the Market Square car park, the project is still in its infancy around its concept. The detail will still need to be developed, but the importance of street trees in our urban environment is something that's well recognised and well established in our council and in our people and our operations. We do what we can to protect existing trees. There is no intention of removing these trees at this stage. As the project works through its detail, we'll need to work to be sensitive to our impacts to these trees. We are going to try and retain them. But as we progress, risk assessments and health assessments of these trees will need to be monitored and undertaken to ensure that what we're doing doesn't adversely impact. But in doing those assessments, and sometimes we go down this path where the tree is being deemed unhealthy or at risk, it may be required to be removed. At this point in time, we do not have any indication of that. I can't ensure that any trees will be removed, but we will do what we can to retain those mature trees because they absolutely add value to that space, no doubt. Thank you.
You will be given a written reply to your question as well. I'm not sure when that will happen, but hopefully as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and updates as well in the future. Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
No worries. We have one item to deal with in closed council. Could I get a motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Happy to move that we go into closed council to discuss some confidential matters.
The seconder?
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
All in favour? It's against, it's carried. We won't be long if you want to... Now we're back in open council. I'll get the CEO to report on.
Must have a lot of spare time.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. A report on the item that was resolved in closed council, 14.1. Council agreed to extend contract C22 2012-13 provision of waste services and recycling services to Wheelie Waste for the final one-year term commencing 1st of July 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr CEO. There being no further business, we'll declare the meeting closed.